Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So Canto 1, chapter 18, verse number 16. स वै महाभागवत परीक्षित येनापवर्गाख्याम अदभ्र बुद्धि ज्ञानेन वैयासकी शब्दितेन भेजे खगेन्द्र ध्वजपाद मूलम. स वै महाभागवत परीक्षित येनापवर्गाख्यम अदभ्र बुद्धि ज्ञानेन वैयासकी शब्दितेन भेजे खगेन्द्र ध्वजपाद मूलम. स वै महाभागवतः परीक्षित येनापवर्गाख्यम अदभ्र बुद्धि ज्ञानेन वैयासकी शब्दितेन भेजे खगेन्द्र ध्वजपाद मूलम. What word, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Saha he, vai, certainly, Mahabhagavata, first class devotee, Parīkṣit, the king, Yena, by which, Apavarga Akhyam, by the name of liberation, Adabra, fixed, Buddhihi, intelligence, Jnanena, by knowledge, Vaiyasaki, the son of Vyasa, Shabditena, vibrated by, Bheje, taken to, Khaga Indra, Garuda, the king of the birds, Dhwaja, flag, Padamulam, soles of the feet. Translation. O Suta Goswami, please describe those topics of the Lord by which Mahārāja Parīkṣit, whose intelligence was fixed on liberation, attained the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of Garuda, the king of birds. Those topics were vibrated by the son of Vyasa, Srila Sukadeva. Purport. There's some controversy amongst the students on the path of liberation. Such transcendental students are known as impersonalists and devotees of the Lord. The devotees of the Lord worships the transcendental form of the Lord, whereas the impersonalist meditates upon the glaring effulgence or the bodily rays of the Lord, known as the Brahma Jyoti. Here in this verse, it is said that Mahārāja Parīkṣit attained the lotus feet of the Lord by instructions in knowledge delivered by the son of Vyasadeva, Srila Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami was also an impersonalist in the beginning, as he himself has admitted in the Bhāgavatam, 219. But later on, he was attracted by the transcendental pastimes of the Lord and thus became a devotee. Such devotees with perfect knowledge are called Mahabhagavatas or first-class devotees. There are three classes of devotees, namely the Prakrita, Madhyama, and Mahabhagavata. The Prakrita or third-class devotees are temple worshippers without specific knowledge of the Lord and the Lord's devotees. The Madhyama or the second-class devotee knows well the Lord, the Lord's devotees, the neophytes, and the non-devotees also. Very important, please, I'll repeat this. The Madhyama or the second-class devotee knows well the Lord, the Lord's devotees, the neophytes, and the non-devotees also. But the Mahabhagavata or the first-class devotee sees everything in relation with the Lord and the Lord present in everyone's relation. The Mahabhagavata therefore does not make any distinction, particularly between a devotee and a non-devotee. Mahārāja Parīkṣit was such a Mahabhagavata devotee because he was initiated by a Mahabhagavata devotee, Sukadeva Goswami. He was equally kind even to the personality of Kali, and what to speak of others. So there are many instances in the transcendental histories of the world of an impersonalist who has later become a devotee. But a devotee has never become an impersonalist. This very fact proves that on the transcendental steps, the step occupied by a devotee is higher than the step occupied by an impersonalist. It is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita 12.5 that persons stuck on the impersonal step undergo more sufferings than achievement of reality. Therefore, knowledge imparted by Sukadeva Goswami unto Mahārāja Parīkṣit helped him attain the service of the Lord. And this stage of perfection is called apavarga, or the perfect stage of liberation. Simple knowledge of liberation is material knowledge. Very important. Simple knowledge of liberation is material knowledge. Actual freedom from material bondage is called liberation, but attainment of the transcendental service of the Lord is called the perfect stage of liberation. Such a stage is attained by knowledge and renunciation, as we have already explained, Bhāgavatam 1:2-12. And perfect knowledge, as delivered by Srila Sukadeva Goswami, results in the attainment of the transcendental service of the Lord. Someone is unmute. Can you please, everyone, can you make sure you muted yourself, please? Can Suman Pathak mute yourself, please? Okay.
With those puppy eyes are looking for answers. What's going on? Yes. It's all feel good.
Can someone mute, please?
No soft forms for him.
Yes, thank you. So this verse, Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udhirayet nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. So again, this is part of the verse where hearing is emphasized. The sages of Naimisharanya are asking, O Suta Goswami, please describe those topics of the Lord by which Mahārāja Parīkṣit, whose intelligence was fixed on liberation, attained the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of Garuda, the king of birds. Those topics were elaborated by the son of Vyasa, Srila Sukadeva Goswami. So this purport basically gives us three topics: the differentiation between impersonalist and a devotee, the three types of devotees, the Kanishta, Madhyam, and the Uttamadhikari, and the relative position of an impersonalist and a devotee, where Prabhupada in the second paragraph speaks about the steps. The impersonal is on a lower step and a devotee is on a higher step. It's interesting, when I was reading this verse, purport, Prabhupada says here in this verse, it is said that Mahārāja Parīkṣit attained the lotus feet of the Lord by instructions in knowledge delivered by the son of Vyasdeva, Srila Sukadeva Goswami. We also know that Mahārāja Parīkṣit, already was protected by the Lord when he was in the mother's womb. And then when he came out, he was actually examining everyone who he met, that, is this the personality who saved me? And he was trying to see the Lord within every person, and that's why he was called Pariksha. He was doing Pariksha of every person who he meets, and that's why he was called Parīkṣit. Now we can see Parīkṣit Mahārāja's life, it was wonderful in the beginning because he was saved by the Lord himself when he was in the mother's womb. And Mahārāja Parīkṣit's life was wonderful in its duration because he was examining everyone to see and to find the Lord. And it was wonderful in its completion because, he was going to go and hear Bhāgavatam for the last 7 days of his life. And perhaps the most wonderful aspect of his life was his response to the unexpected news of his sudden own death. So this is what we can see. But even then, the importance of Bhāgavatam is emphasized here, that yes, even though his life was wonderful, even though he was a perfect transcendentalist, but he attained the lotus feet of the Lord by instructions in the knowledge delivered by the son of Vyasdeva, Srila Sukadeva Goswami. So for us, it is a lesson that yes, we must also follow in the footsteps of Mahārāja Parīkṣit and Sukadeva Goswami, of course, to hear Bhagavatam every day. We are going to see today, maybe and tomorrow, topic about hearing, and how when we also progress in devotional service, our qualification to hear also progresses. Now, Prabhupada, of course, speaks about, the verse speaks about apavarga, and Prabhupada translates apavarga as the apavarga akhyam. That means something which is spoken about apavarga by the name of liberation. So here again, one more nuance is introduced. Normally, when we speak of apavarga, we have spoken about apavarga before, but I will repeat it very quickly. Pavarga, as you know, in Sanskrit alphabets, and people who know Hindi or the related languages, Gujarati and like that, the fourth or the fifth line in the alphabet is pa, pa, ba, bha, ma. Pa, fa, ba, bha, ma. That's the Sanskrit alphabets. So pa stands for parishram. Parishram means effort which we do in our material life, the strong effort which we do in material life. Then fa, we do so much parishram, we do so much effort, we get tired, and Prabhupada says ultimately foam comes out of our mouth. Fa for fena. Fen means foam. We get so tired, and like the lips get dry, the mouth gets dry. We are working hard, almost like a donkey, and the fen is like in a donkey's mouth. The fen is coming out when his master makes him work very hard. And our position, in jobs these days is 2 hours in commuting and 8 hours of job. So 10 hours of awakened life is gone in that. So that's fena. Then pa, ba is vyasta. In Bengali, vyasta is called vyasta. Vyasta means busy. We are always busy. No time for any transcendence. No time for our own interest, our own swartha to achieve the goal of life, Krishna prema. So ba means vyasta. Bha means bhaya. Now, because we are always engrossed and working hard in material life, so hard that foam is coming out of our mouth, we are always busy, but we are always fearful of material existence. Whatever I have will be taken away. Whatever I want, I won't get it. This is the bhaya we are always hankering and lamenting. So this is the bhaya we have. And then ma is mrityu. But at the end, the death comes, and mrityu, death, takes everything away. So this is the pavarga. But here, Prabhupada says, no, apavarga. When hearing Bhagavatam, we actually go beyond these 5 topics, beyond these 5 topics of pa, pa, ba, ba, ma, and then we achieve liberation. But here, actually, interestingly, Prabhupada also says, okay, even this liberation is material. Yes, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. This material is also liberation. Prabhupada says, simple knowledge of liberation is material knowledge, because we don't know what's going to happen after that. Okay, you ask anyone, any transcendentalist, mostly people who you meet in your daily life, and you ask them, the goal of life, they'll say moksha. But what happens after moksha? No one knows. So Prabhupada says here, the simple knowledge of liberation is also material knowledge. Of course, there are many topics. Sukadeva Goswami himself, in the second canto, he admits himself that by hearing Bhagavatam, actually, he also became a pure devotee of the Lord. Parinishthito hi api nirgunya uttama shloka leelaya. Uttama shloka leelaya. When hearing the leela of the uttama shloka, grihitas cheta rajarshe akyanam yat aditavan. That, O saintly king, Sukadeva Goswami is telling Parīkṣit Mahārāja that I was actually situated perfectly in transcendence. Yes, in monism. Sukadeva Goswami, as you know, he was situated in monism. And he admits that he was perfectly situated in transcendence. But, he says, yet I was still attracted by the delineation of the pastimes of the Lord. And Uttama Shloka, on who's the Lord, who is described by enlightened verses. So this is what Bhagavatam does to us. And Prabhupada speaks about the 3 types of devotees, 3 types of, 3 levels, probably we can say. 3 levels of devotees. Prakrita, that's Kanishta, Madhyama, and Mahabhagavata. Urmila Mataji has kindly, given a whole analysis of these three types of devotees described in the various scriptures. And I will share this in the group once I finish the class. Because Kanishta means, as Prabhupada says here, one who just knows the deity, one who just knows the Lord. Okay, the Lord is in the deity. But then they have no knowledge. These are temple worshippers, people who go to the temple, they worship, and that's about it. They think, okay, I am there, my Lord is there, and my worship is there, that's about it. But they don't have any specific knowledge about the Lord and his devotees, because as we know, the Lord's devotees are part and parcel of the Lord. The Madhyamadikari Prabhupada says here, he knows about the Lord's devotees. He also knows about the neophytes, someone who's just come new to the process of bhakti yoga, new to the process of Krishna consciousness. And that's why when they understand the position of the neophytes, they can also become friends and help them in bringing up in Krishna consciousness. And then also they know the non-devotees, someone who's like a non-devotee, but they are compassionate and they also take the risk, even though Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that my glories should not be spoken in front of a non-devotee, a faithless person, but the devotees take risk and go out and preach. So this is the Madhyamadikari. And of course, the Bhagavata, Mahabhagavata, or the first class devotee sees everyone and everything in relation with the Lord. So then there's no need for preaching, because he thinks I am the lowest and everyone else is the highest. Now, in Nectar of Devotion, the category of Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttama is described according to the faith. So the Kanishta Adhikari is one whose faith is not strong. And our faith can be changed by anyone with strong arguments by some opposite decision. So when our faith is not strong, it is better to just remain together with the devotees. So in Kanishta stage, the faith is not very strong. Then comes the Madhyamadikari. So Madhyamadikari's faith is strong, but still he's not very expert in arguing on the strength of the scriptures. They're studying the scriptures, but they're not that strong. So this is actually what we call for ourselves, if you want to write down, this is a progressive litmus test for all of us. Because we're going to not only speak about the different types of devotees, and we have to see, we have to apply this litmus test. The litmus test is, yes, I'm now at this stage. What is my faith? What is my knowledge? The level of my faith, the level of my knowledge. Then when we progress on the path of Bhakti Yoga, then what will be my faith and what should be my knowledge? And then, of course, Uttamadhikari is, far away, but we'll still discuss that. So Nectar of Devotion describes the Kanishta Adhikari, the beginner, the Prakrita, whose faith is not very strong, and faith can be changed by opposing arguments. Madhyama, faith is there, but still the knowledge is not so strong. So they are not very expert in arguing on the strength of the scriptures. And sometimes, we also mumble when some arguments are given to us, right? But we have the firm faith that no, the faith is there. So for us, it is important to cultivate the faith by spiritual practice and also to get the knowledge, so then we can argue on the basis of revealed scriptures and don't get swayed by the argument and decisions from the opposite party. The Uttamadhikari, they have firm faith in the scriptures because they have understood with all the reasons and arguments. We should also cross-reference all these things, whatever we study. Okay, the question should be, I'm hearing this, but I heard that in this verse, or I read this in this purport. Can you please explain? So we have to have the knowledge based on reasoning and arguments based on the scriptures. The Uttamadhikari is very expert in the study of the scriptures and also expert in putting forward the arguments in terms of those scriptures. And Uttamadhikari, of course, very beautifully presents the conclusions with perfect discretion, and also can guide someone new to consider different ways of devotional service. like when Arjun is asking Krishna, please tell me decisively what is the best for me. Whether it is, just on one hand, you say, keep the abominable activities far distant by intelligence, but on the other hand, you are asking me to fight. So Arjun is confused and he says, okay, please tell me decisively which one is better. And then Krishna explains him because he's, of course, an expert preacher. So Nectar of Devotion describes based on our faith and knowledge. Bhagavatam describes based on our relationship with the deity, with the devotees, with the innocent, with the ignorant, like that. So I'm not going to discuss that one by one more here. I'm going to post that on the group. And then if you have any question, please let me know. So that is as far as the three types of devotees are concerned. Now, also, hang on a sec. Where is the purport gone here? Okay. Prabhupada also speaks about the different types of transcendentalists. One word which comes regularly here is in the previous verse also yesterday, which Viraj Krishna Prabhu described, is about the Sushruta. Sushrutam no vitano tu vidwan. So Sushrutam. So if you understand the word Sushruta, if anyone is aware, means taking care of someone who's sick. So Sushruta also means to hear. So Sushruta also means to do some service. The service is described in many ways. In Bhagavatam, there are many instances where services are given. Most important for us to understand is the intention to serve. Intention to serve. Mother Devhuti, she served Karda Muni very nicely. So the word used there is also Sushusha. She served Karda Muni very nicely, and she got the Lord himself as the son. Whereas Diti, she served her husband Kashyapa Muni to beget a son, but the intention was material. The son, she wanted the son to kill Indra, right? So this way the intentions are very different. Here we can see that they want to hear and serve only for only about the Lord, so that they can understand that yes, we are doing this 1,000-year-long sacrifice. We are becoming black by the smoke. No other benefit is coming. So please speak to us about the Lord himself. So again, when we hear or when we do any service, it's very important that the intention is very, very clear. Prabhupada quotes also here Bhagavad Gita 12.5, where Arjuna is asking, okay, so you have spoken to me about impersonalists and impersonalists, but please tell me who is the best. And then Krishna, very beautifully, after explaining him the difference between someone who's worshipping just the energy, just the Brahma Jyoti of the Lord, someone who's worshipping his impersonal form. And then at the end, in the 6th and 7th verse of the 12th chapter, again a beautiful chapter, devotional service. Krishna says that no, actually, someone who's worshipping my personal form, and that's why we are called personalist. So Krishna says in the 12th chapter, verses 6 and 7, that Arjun, those who worship me, right, being devoted to me without deviation, giving up all their activities into me, engage in devotional service and meditating upon me. Now it's difficult to meditate upon, as Krishna said before, on something which is impersonal. But you have a personal form as the deities, devotees who know when they have the deities in the house and when they worship them, so much attachment is developed that the deity becomes their life ultimately. Everything what they do is centered around the deities. Whatever they do in the life. If something new has to be brought in the house, first they'll offer to the deity. If something has to be cooked in the house, okay, what can I offer to the deities? okay, where can I place the deities? So I can see the deities nicely. Even someone who visits my house can see the deities nicely. So this way, when we center around our life around the deities, the personal form of the Lord, what does Krishna says? Tesham aham samuddarta mrityu samsara sagarat. Krishna says in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, for them, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So here also, when we hear, and then when we start our spiritual practice of hearing and chanting, we can understand that yes, Krishna is a person. Let me be a personalist, because Mahārāja Parīkṣit was a personalist. Sukadeva Goswami, he became a personalist after hearing Srīmad Bhāgavatam. Then Prabhupada also quotes here that such a stage is attained by knowledge and renunciation. So he's speaking about actual freedom from material bondage. Many times, we find it hard, even after practicing for so many years, we find it hard to understand why do we have to get this freedom from material bondage. Because, in Australia, we are having a great life, a good balance between material and spiritual life. But then we actually go deeper and understand, no, this is causing bondage. I have to come back if I really don't perfect my spiritual life. And Prabhupada says, but attainment of the transcendental service of the Lord is called the perfect stage of liberation. So our lives should be centered around this devotional service. We have such beautiful programs during the weekend, and during the weekdays we have Bhagavatam class. In the evening you might have your, Bhakti Vriksha, whatever it is. So this way, somehow or the other, we can be engaged in the devotional service. And Prabhupada says this is the perfect stage of liberation. And how do we get it? Prabhupada says 1 to 12. He quotes 1 to 12. Prabhupada says such a stage is attained by knowledge and renunciation, jnana and vairagya. Tashraddhana muniyo jnana vairagya yuktaya pashyanti atmani chatmanam bhaktya shruta girihitaya jnana vairagya yuktaya. So Prabhupada, Krishna here, the Srimad Bhagavatam describes student like us, the seriously inquisitive student or a sage. What are they doing? They are actually well equipped with jnana and vairagya, knowledge and detachment. And with knowledge and detachment, what happens? We realize the absolute truth, Krishna, by rendering devotional service in terms of what we have heard from the Vedanta Shruti. So Vedanta, as we know, is the end of the Vedas, the conclusion of the Vedas. So what we have heard from the conclusion of the Vedas, from Bhagavatam, from Bhagavad Gita, we apply in our life, we render devotional service, equipped with knowledge and detachment, with jnana and vairagya. And this is, Prabhupada says, this is going to result in the attainment of the transcendental service of the Lord. We're going to continue tomorrow. It's just 1 minute left. We're going to continue tomorrow. Again, as I said, this is a progressive litmus test. Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, Uttam Adhikari. And tomorrow we are going to hear about our qualification to hear, Shravan Adhikara. Because not that, we just hear whatever. And that's why Prabhupada, he generally condemns the Bhagavad Saptah speaker, the professional Bhagavad Saptah speaker, where they straight go on the 10th canto, describe, Ras Leela or Gopi Geet or this and that, without getting the adhikar to hear about that. So we hear in sequence 1 to 9 cantos, then we go to the 10th canto. So tomorrow we'll go into a detail of the Shravan Adhikara as to how we should be steady in our current situation for some time. And then once we are steady, then we should also aim at progressing into the next stage. And actually it is very boldly described that it is both irreligion or dharma of not being steady, not following our practice of the current state, what we are in, and also not thinking about the next stage we are going to be in. So let's stay tuned for tomorrow. Today, if you have any questions or comments, please unmute and speak up and share reflections, realizations. We'll welcome that. Even criticism is welcome. Even challenges are welcome. Okay, no takers. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. May you have a very wonderful devotional day. And tomorrow, as we said, we're going to speak about our Shravan Adhikara, what we should be hearing, at what stage, and how we should be also aiming at progressive in hearing and our corresponding devotional service. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Prabhu.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.